Good morning. My name is Rebecca Wheat, and today I will present 10 research based teaching and learning best practices that our team identified to help improve elementary literacy achievement. We selected these practices after looking at student performance data, examining current educational research, and discussing instructional strategies that have been successful in each of our classrooms. Our goal was to identify approaches that not only improve reading achievement, but also foster positive academic and social behaviors. By implementing these research based practices consistently across all classrooms, schools can create engaging learning environments that support all students and promote continuous academic growth. The first research based strategy that we came up with was data driven instruction. And data driven instruction is the process of using student assessment results to make informed decisions about teaching and learning. Rather than relying on intuition alone, teachers can analyze data from classroom assessments, benchmark universal screeners, and benchmark assessments that identify student strengths and areas of need. This information allows educators to create more flexible instructional groups, adjust learning pacing, and adjust their lessons as well, and provide targeted interventions for students who require additional supports. Frequent progress monitoring also helps to determine whether instructional strategies are effective and whether adjustments are needed within those strategies. When instruction is driven by evidence instead of teacher assumptions, students receive more personalized learning experiences that lead to greater academic growth, increased confidence, and improved classroom engagement. The next best practice that we discussed as a group was small group differentiated instruction. And that provides teachers with opportunities to meet the individual learning needs of all students by grouping them according to their current skill levels rather than teaching every student the same lesson in the same way. Flexible grouping allows teachers to provide additional supports to struggling learners while extending and stretching the learning opportunities for students who have already mastered grade level skills. During small group instruction, teachers can model skills, provide immediate corrective feedback, and closely monitor student understanding. Students are more actively engaged because instruction is appropriate and it's challenging and directly addresses their learning needs. This personalized approach improves literacy achievement while also directly addressing individual learning needs, reducing frustration, and increasing students' confidence in their learning abilities. This particular approach is especially important because it allows students to learn the same material, but at a different level that is appropriate for each particular learner. Okay, structured literacy instruction. And structured literacy is evidence-based instructional approach grounded in the science of reading, which is, we all know, a really big thing right now. It teaches foundational skills in a systematic and explicit way, and it allows students to receive direct instruction in phonemic awareness, phonics, decoding, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension, using a very carefully thought out sequence progression of those skills. Unlike instructional approaches that rely on students discovering patterns independently, structured literacy provides clear expectations and explanations, guided practice, and repeated opportunities for mastery. Research has consistently shown that this approach benefits all students and is especially effective for struggling readers and students with characteristics of dyslexia. Implementing structured literacy helps students become confident, fluent readers while reducing reading frustration and increasing overall academic success. All right, so let's talk about some vocabulary instruction. Vocabulary knowledge is one of the strongest predictors of reading comprehension and overall academic achievement. Explicit vocabulary instruction involves intentionally selecting important academic words, directly teaching their meanings, and providing multiple opportunities for students to use those words in their everyday speaking, reading, and writing. Effective vocabulary instruction also connects new words to students' background knowledge and real-life experiences, so they're able to make better connections with that word. Doing this makes learning more meaningful and more memorable for students. Teachers can actively reinforce vocabulary through discussions, the use of graphic organizers, different interactive activities, and repeated exposure across multiple content areas. As students develop stronger vocabulary skills, they become more confident readers. They tend to participate more actively in classroom discussions, and they demonstrate improved comprehension across all academic subjects. Perhaps one of the most important best practices for all teachers is formative assessments. Formative assessments is an ongoing process that allows teachers to monitor student learning through instruction rather than waiting until the end of a unit to evaluate student understanding. Teachers can use strategies such as exit tickets, different classroom observations and checklists, questioning techniques, one-on-one student conferences, and quick checks such as end of lesson exit slips to provide immediate information about student This information enables teachers to adjust instruction, reteach difficult concepts that have not yet been mastered, and provide timely intervention before misconceptions become long-term learning gaps. Equally important is providing students with specific, constructive feedback that helps them understand what they're doing and what they need to improve on. Frequent assessment combined with meaningful feedback promotes continuous academic growth. It increases the student's motivation and supports higher level of academic achievement. Collaborative learning, it encourages students to work together to solve problems, discuss ideas, and construct knowledge through meaningful interaction. Rather than learning independently, students participate in structured activities such as cooperative learning groups, peer discussions, think, pair, share activities, and collaborative projects. These experiences promote communication among students, critical thinking, problem solving, and social skills while allowing students to learn from one another's perspectives. Teachers will serve as facilitators by providing clear expectations, monitoring those group interactions, and ensuring that all students have a chance to actively participate. Collaborative learning is not only strengthen academic understanding, but it also promotes respect, teamwork, and positive classroom relationships where all students feel valued. Student goal setting, it encourages learners to become more active participants in their own educational journey by establishing clear academic goals and regularly monitoring their progress. Teachers guide students in setting realistic, measurable objectives that align with learning standards and individualized growth for achievement. Students can reflect on their own performance. They can analyze their own assessment results and identify strategies that will help them achieve their goals more effectively. This process also promotes self-regulation strategies, perseverance, and a growth mindset by helping students recognize that effort and persistence can lead to improvement. When students become more responsible for their own learning, they develop greater motivation, confidence, and ownership of their academic successes. Family engagement is a critical component of student success because learning extends beyond the classroom into the home and the community. Schools that establish really strong partnerships with families through regular communication, different school events, parent workshops, and home learning activities tend to create more consistent support systems for their students. Families gain a better understanding of classroom expectations, and they learn strategies they can use to reinforce learning at home. When parents and caregivers are actively engaged in their child's education, students tend to demonstrate higher academic achievement, improved attendance, stronger motivation, and more positive classroom behaviors. Building trusting relationships between schools and families, it ultimately creates a collaborative environment that is focused on student success. PBIS, which is also known as Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports, is a proactive framework that's designed to improve student behavior and create safe, supportive learning environments for all students. Instead of focusing primarily on correcting inappropriate behaviors, PBIS emphasizes that teaching behavioral expectations, reinforcing positive choices, and providing interventions for students who need additional support. Consistent routines, clear expectations, and positive reinforcement help to establish predictable classroom environments where students understand what is expected of them on a daily basis. When behavioral disruptions decrease, teachers are able to maximize instructional time, and students tend to remain engaged in their learning. Research consistently demonstrates that schools that implement the PBIS model experience improved school climate, fewer disciplinary referrals, and increased academic achievement. Technology integration is our last best practice, and it enhances literacy instruction and math instruction by providing students with personalized learning experiences that meet their individual needs. Adaptive educational programs, digital reading platforms, interactive learning activities, and online formative assessments provide immediate feedback to students while allowing them to practice at their own paces. Technology also gives teachers access to valuable data that can be used to monitor student progress and adjust instruction accordingly. However, technology should complement high-quality instruction rather than replacing effective teaching practices. When thoughtfully integrated into the classroom, digital tools can increase student engagement, it can encourage independent learning, and provide additional opportunities for students to develop essential academic skills. Alrighty, faculty collaboration. So this project was developed through collaboration with members of our school's leadership team, and together we sat and examined student achievement and discussed instructional challenges that our students face with their academic growth. Each team member contributed ideas based on their individual classroom experiences and current educational research. We selected 10 best practices that address student learning needs while promoting positive behaviors and student engagement. Working collaboratively allowed us to build consensuses, share expertise, and create a plan that reflected our shared commitment to improving student achievement. The instructional strategies that were presented in this project are supported by peer-reviewed research, nationally recognized educational organizations, and evidence-based instructional frameworks. These resources emphasize the importance of explicit instruction, data-informed decision-making, structured literacy, positive behavior supports, and collaborative professional practices. Together, these best practices provide teachers with practical approaches that can improve academic achievement while creating positive and engaging learning environments. I'd like to thank you today for listening to my best practices presentation, and I hope that you find this beneficial for you in your classrooms this year. Go Wildcats!